sorry. Refuse. I know that's an odd title, but oh well. Sorry, it's quite an odd title. Free love and refuse. I thought, oh yay, let's be confusing. A lovely pink drink. It looks orange on there, but it's actually pink. Very pink. It's just this camera is just really bad. Yeah, it still looks red or orange or something. It's not though, it's hot pink. It's very nice. It's gone really cold, like proper winter Arctic weather. And I just saw a guy wearing freaking shorts. I'm like, you're kidding. And apparently wearing shorts in winter is very popular at the minute. Well, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm trying to get dinner ready. I will talk about the subject, obviously, while I'm cooking and shit. I got rid of some more crap yesterday. So that's good. I was just talking yesterday about, I mean, I've talked about it before, but it set me off thinking about it again. Things do my head in. And sometimes I think, you know, why should it do my head in? It's none of my business, like what other people do or want or like. So specifically about like the free love thing that I was going to discuss is an example, but there's like many things of the same nature. But we'll talk about that one. I'm just going to sort this sink out first. There's pots everywhere. I've got to somehow do something about them. Piled up to the sky. You'd think there'd be 10 people living here with the amount of pots and pans we have. There'd be 10 people living here with the amount of pots and pans we have. Plates, you know, and the like. Please stop slipping away from me. I'm trying to grab you. As I'm trying to grab plates, they're slipping away from me, which is really annoying. God, I do hate all of it. It's like a whole process. I have better things to be doing with my time than dealing with hordes of rubbish and pots and pans and stuff. Yeah, no, that wasn't meant to happen. So, I was talking to this guy that I met last Saturday. I'm trying to think how it got started. Oh yeah, he talked about how, you know, he's had casual sex with girls and stuff. I was like talking about how I don't know how people can do that, like have casual sex with people. And when I say that, what I mean like meeting someone at a bar or even online and then, you know, meeting them immediately for sex. Like that, the very first time you're meeting, you're having sex with these people. And he said something like, because I was telling him like about how, but what about diseases and other things? you have to get them tested for diseases first, surely, before you have sex with them. And he was saying stuff like, well, it won't be too good if you met someone at a bar and you want to take them back to your place or whatever, or you go back to their place. But you're like, oh, but you've got to get tested first, and you've got to go to the doctor, or make an appointment first, then go to a doctor, and it's like a whole lengthy process and mess about. And it's like, I remember thinking that when I was younger. I do. I remember thinking, well, that's not very romantic or spontaneous, is it? You've got to make sure that they get tested first. My mum used to, tell me all of this stuff. So I remember thinking, that's crazy. Like when people meet and they have sex, it's sort of spontaneous and it just happens. And I remember thinking about that with the whole consent thing. It's like when you see people have sex in the movies or whatever, they don't sort of ask, oh, can I have sex with you? And the person's like, oh, yes, okay. It's like, it just happens like spontaneously. It kind of takes the romance out of it if you have to be asking permission first. And then say yes or whatever. And I remember, thinking about that stuff, even as a kid, when my mum used to tell me. This was part of the sex chat that we had. That I had to, do everything right, get to know the person first. Make sure, absolutely insist that they get tested. Because she said, blokes don't always do these things, so it's up to the girl to sort of make sure that they do it. And I remember, sort of inwardly thinking, even as a kid, I thought, will they want to do that though? It's like by the time you've done all of that, the romance is gone, the spontaneousness is gone, and so on and so forth. It becomes a very lengthy sort of clinical process then. Of course, I didn't have the words to say all that, so I couldn't say that, like point that out to my mum. But I just remember I did kind of think about that, like, oh, it's just a load of messing about, and it's not going to be as fun that way. It's going to be sort of boring and poo. All the wind's going to be taken out of it. I don't know. However you can describe that in that way. But yeah. So I told this guy the same thing, and he said the same thing as what I used to think back then. And I said, yeah, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So as a grown-up, you understand these things better. So I'm thinking, it's a bit irresponsible if he just goes to bars and just picks up people. I thought it's far better to meet them and get to know them first, and then have sex, even if you're just going to be having casual sex and not have a relationship specifically. I thought it would be better to do it that way anyway, because I think a build up to it would be better. I suppose it's okay for all these people who, get turned on at the drop of a hat, but it's not like that for everyone, and a build up is required. Plus, before meeting a guy, I don't even know if I'm sexually attracted to him anyway, until I actually meet him and feel him in person, if that makes sense. Like I did with this guy. I didn't really feel that way about this guy. So, yeah. I need to go. Maybe I should get that spoon with the holes in it. Anyway, from that, we ended up talking about I was trying to tell him about how girls think. So he's trying to justify having casual sex with girls, like if they've consented to it and all that. And I was telling him about how girls are not built that way. Like, they might agree to do it, but in reality, if a woman or girl or whatever, like young woman, has casual sex, she can actually become attached to the man in question. And if that man rejects her for a long-term relationship, it can kind of mess her up. I remember, you know, men don't like know this stuff, I guess. But if you tell them, of course they're going to deny it, because what it means to men, if they were to believe what you're, because of course he didn't believe what I was saying about women and about how it messes them up if they have casual sex and one night stands and stuff. Even if they consent to it, even if they agree to it. But of course he doesn't want to believe that, because that makes what he did bad, and he wants to continue doing that. He wants to continue having one night stands and casual sex with women. So of course he says nah, and he says it's all pseudoscience. But I told him it's like, no, it's real. It's like they've got this hormone / chemical makeup that makes it so that women all, again, naturally, they might not consciously think this, but naturally they sort of do. I can't think of the right word right now. This is really terrible. They are genetically made up so that they are built to want to pair bond. They are made in a way that dictates that they are looking for the perfect mate, a mate that is strong and will provide for them, and also provide, you know, the best, strongest babies. So naturally they are built for actually finding a mate. But because of men's genetic makeup, oh, and this is a kicker. This one, right? This is a, sorry, my camera's really crap. This is a kicker, a good one. This, men are built the opposite way. Men are built specifically for one night stands and stuff. Like, they are designed to want to only have casual sex and have as many girls as possible, so that they can spread their seed around, if you will. Like, obviously back in the olden days, they actually wanted to impregnate women, you know, as many as possible, so that they could have like as many offspring as possible, so that their genes would dominate every other man's genes. So that is what they're designed to do. They're designed to have as many females as possible, impregnate as many females as possible. But obviously men in reality don't want to do that. They just want to have the sex, and they don't want to get the women pregnant. But that's just modern thinking, because it's like, oh, well, you know, they'll have to pay child support and all that stuff. Like, they have to be committed in some way if they're going to be having a child, and they don't want that. So obviously they don't really want to do that, but that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to want to have as many mates and impregnate as many women as possible. So in order to get around the fact that women are built the opposite way, they are designed to pair bond, they're not built for one night stands and casual sex. So of course, if you tell them that, they're going to deny it, because they don't want to know that, because that means that when they do this, they're actually being kind of evil in a way. Because what happens is, I'll tell you, when men have sex with women and then, you know, basically pump and dump them, love them and leave them, it actually makes the women feel really bad, like emotionally and mentally, and it can mess them up mentally. So even if they agree to do it, and the only reason they will agree to do it usually is to please the man, because they know that's what the man wants, and they figure, well, maybe if I have sex with them, he'll stay with me afterwards. But when that doesn't happen, because like it's happened a lot in movies, and I've heard of others, like real stories of it happening as well, whereby people will have casual sex and then actually end up falling in love and getting together, you know, getting into a relationship. And that seems to happen like a lot. Like I've heard so many stories. But that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like relationship first, then sex. Like get to know each other for a while first, then sex. Like make sure the person's going to stay with you first, sort of thing. But I suppose because of all these stories and accounts of that happening, women think, well, I'm going to agree to casual sex, but really I want a long-term relationship. And maybe if I give him the casual sex he wants, maybe he'll stay with me. Because I think you may have heard of the whole, like, after people have sex, they fall in love with each other thing. It releases some kind of love hormone, apparently. And a lot of people think that just happens to women, because that's what I've heard as well. I've heard that someone, I think it was my mum, I can't remember who. It might have been her and a few people I've heard it from, but I've heard it a few times that women usually fall in love with a man after having sex, especially for the first time. And if it's their first time having sex, they're likely to fall in love with the man. So that is definitely something that has been heard about. And my mum and some other more experienced women have confessed that a lot of the times that they've agreed to have sex with a man, it was only because they thought that it's a possibility that the only way to get him is to have sex with him first, and he will fall in love with her. Because it also happens to men as well. The love hormone can also be released within him as well after having sex. All it is it's all these feelings, whatever chemical it is released in the body to make them feel good, pretty much. You know, it's like more like the pleasure hormones. And all these pleasurable feelings can be associated with the person you just had sex with. So that's why they fall in love, but they're not really obviously falling in love. They're just like, you know, they're connecting these really good feelings to the person that they've had sex with. So just imagine if that happens, and then the person you've just had sex with leaves, and, you know, it's like, well, see you bye, I've had my fun now. Even though you've agreed to it, you know, see you bye. Like, in reality, that woman's going to feel absolutely crushed. Like, she might have gone into it thinking, yeah, it's just casual, it'll be fine. Even if she, like, consciously, mentally only wanted casual, the inside subconscious hormone would really subconscious brain would have preferred if he said, all right, you know, we've had sex, I'm in love with you now, let's be together. Like, that's what she really wanted. So if that doesn't happen, then she can be shattered mentally and emotionally. But you can see why it's easy for people to sort of think, well, men, should I say, men like this guy, to think, oh no, that's crap, that's just pseudoscience. Oh, the women want it, you know. They agreed to it, and, you know, they are the ones who initiated it. Oh, blah blah blah. Or women have urges too, you know, they want this, that, the other. They want casual sometimes as well. Or, well, the reason why they deny it's true is because, like I say, it means that they've done something bad. And if they continue to do it, as in have one-night stands and casual sex, it means that they've done something wrong. Which is, like I say, make these women feel that way. So it's like it's easier to deny it, and so that he can not have a guilty conscience about continuing to have casual sex with women. Obviously, back in the olden days, men didn't care. They were just like cold and heartless. They didn't care how the woman feels. I mean, it's obvious that if you have sex with someone and then leave them, it's going to make them feel bad. Like, even on a conscious, obvious, logical level. But if they knew the actual proper damage that it actually does, like it's not just the obvious stuff, then obviously that's even worse, because people are supposed to care these days about that stuff. People are supposed to care about mental health and all that good stuff. And people these days won't want to contribute to someone having mental health issues and emotional problems and psychological problems, which are all the things it will give women when they have casual sex with them. And even the women might deny it as well, but they will be hurt. My mum was one of them. She agreed to casual, and supposedly, well, that's okay, because she agreed to it. But in reality, she just went along with it because that's what she thought she had to do. And that's what it's safe to say that the majority of women will be doing as well. And he was all like, oh, women are all different, they're not all like that or whatever. It's like, yeah, but they are all the same. All men are the same and all women are the same. So, like, genetically, the genetic, scientific, biologicalness is all the fucking same. It's just their views and opinions that are different. But that's just, like I say, conscious stuff. We're talking about subconscious, we're talking about primal now. The primal nature will all be the same. All women will end up shattered after casual sex. The only thing that I can say is that they will build up an immunity over time. So their first time having casual sex might have been really painful, mentally, psychologically, emotionally. And here, right here, I did the same thing. I went into that. Remember I told you about my little adventure with Bruce? I went into that thinking it'll be okay, we'll just do some role play and stuff. But it was really bad because I actually ended up really liking him, but he wasn't of the same mindset. And that really actually quite hurted me. So yeah, like I say, over time they probably build an immunity to it, so they keep having casual sex and they build an immunity to it. But it will have messed them up. And as this person explained, or these people, there's multiple people that talk about this stuff, they lose their ability to bond over time the more sex partners that they have. I mean, like I said yesterday, it would be nice to think that yeah, in this modern age it's fine, we can all have casual sex and it'll be all fine, and all this free love, it's great, it's freeing, it's liberating, and so on and so forth. But it's really bad. I've tried to develop, honestly, I've tried my best to form a positive opinion about the modern age. Because everybody keeps saying how great it is, everybody's free, everybody's liberated, everybody's can just do what they want now, and so, but it's like, it's not good. It's not good, and I'll tell you why. This particular thing, obviously, because there's quite a few things obviously wrong with this era, but I'll tell you about this one anyway. So the bad thing about this particular subject, as in free love, we'll call it that because apparently that's what they called in the 70s. Apparently that's when it started, as in becoming more acceptable for single people to just have sex. I've had to come far away because the kettle's going to start blaring away now. I'm not sure you'll be able to hear me after this. I worry about all this electric stuff here and messing up the connection, but hopefully it'll be okay. Hello and bye then, only person to view my stream. So rude, nobody's coming on my stream tonight. Very sad. You guys suck tonight. You guys absolutely suck tonight not coming on my live stream, especially to hear my very important lecture. But I shall continue because maybe people will view it afterwards. So, this is the actual flow of how I said it yesterday. So yeah, I wrote the script without actually writing anything down, but I just said it like out loud and then I've memorized it. So anyway, so the reason why it's bad is actually a lot of things that I've already mentioned, and that is that women will agree to all of this because it's what men want. Remember, this is a man's world, and as much as people, especially women, don't like to think of it like that with all this feminist crap and everything, it still is. And I'll tell you why before we go on, because it's very relevant to what I'm about to tell you as to why this free love stuff is bad. Right. So, feminists are actually having women cater to men more than before the feminist stuff has changed everything. Yeah. Do you want to know why? Because now women are thinking more like men and doing things more like men would do, because they reject womanness. For some reason, even though feminists are very pro-women and anti-men, they're actually pro-men because they not only want to be more like men, but they expect other women to be just like men as well. As in, if a woman, say for instance, wants to have a traditional lifestyle where they be like a housewife and they do the cooking and cleaning while their husband goes out to work, and they like to wear dresses and be feminine and, you know, do all the like traditional feminine woman stuff, feminists and other women that are like of the feminist mindset actually disapprove of it. They disapprove of women being that way, like a traditional woman, and doing the traditional female gender role stuff. And the man is like the boss. He goes out, earns the money, brings home the bacon. The woman stays home all day and cooks and cleans for her man and looks after the children as well. And feminists actually frown upon this, and they will actually criticize these women for choosing that lifestyle, and then say, oh no, you can't cater to a man, and oh you can't this, and oh you can't that, you know, you can't, don't, why are you serving a man, why are you know, blah blah blah, you know, that sort of thing. And I'm like, they chose that lifestyle, no one forced them to do it, they chose to do it. And isn't that what today's supposed to be about, people having a choice? You're telling this woman that she can't do it and making her feel bad for having chose that lifestyle. That's not cool. That's actually worse than whatever the hell it is you think whatever cause you think you're fighting for. It's actually worse that you told her. Because the idea is to have a choice. Like, some women want to all be butch and like men these days, which is another reason why it's catering to men, because it's like, well, men love that. Men have always wanted girls who are like more masculine and like, you know, sports and everything, because they think, you know, men and women don't have anything common because men like sports and women don't, and all that stuff, and women like flowery girly things and men don't. So men are loving this. Men are actually loving the fact that, you know, women are being more into men's stuff and acting more like men, and of course they're acting more crass like men and swearing more and showing their asses, you know, mooning people and being smashing bottles and boozing and stuff. What do you think that's doing? Men are loving that. So women are just going down to men's level. That's what they're doing with all this feminist crap. And believe it or not, this whole traditional lifestyle and gender role stuff is actually what kept the world going round. Because, believe it or not, there actually has to be someone home cooking and cleaning and raising the kids. Otherwise, the kids go in a shit direction. The house never gets cleaned. And it's also a lot of pressure for women to, you know, basically be forced into thinking that they have to have a career. Because that means a woman has to work and exhaust herself with some kind of job. So, of course, you know how women always lived longer than men. Why do you think that is? Because women had slightly less stress than men. And less, either very stressful jobs or physically exhausting and stressful jobs. And after they'd finished cooking and cleaning, they had the whole day to do whatever the hell they wanted. So it's like they also had more freedom as well. But now they're all glued to a job like all blokes. So they can't just think, oh, today I'll do a bit of shopping, or I'll go out to a cafe or something, or just do whatever it is that they like to do. Now they've just got to be stuck in an office like blokes. Or doing some laborious job. So they've actually trapped themselves even more, actually. And what do you think who do you think this whole free love stuff benefits? Like the fact that women are all like, oh yeah, we can whore it around too, just like men, and it's okay to do that. It's like that benefits men because it means more easy girls for men. And you know what I mean when I say easy? I just mean women that are like willing to have sex, as in casual sex with men, instead of the kind of women who are like, you've got to woo me, you've got to take me out on dates, you've got to wine and dine me, you've got to buy me presents and flowers and chocolates and candies, and you've got to make a damn effort basically and dress up for me. So instead of having to do all that, men can now just go and meet a girl in a bar or online and go, right, let's have sex tonight. Yeah, that benefits men because women don't want that as much as they try and tell you they do. Consciously they might want it. They might think it's great, but they've been brainwashed into it. It's actually, as in brainwashed into thinking it's great, not brainwashed into wanting it. Because I don't doubt that, women and girls have urges. Obviously they do, but they should not act on it. Because women, they are supposed to be better than men technically, as in they're supposed to be more refined and polished and demure and what's the word, like sophisticated, like not what I said before, going swearing and smashing bottles and getting drunk and being rowdy. Like women are supposed to, I'm not saying that they have to be quiet and subservient, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying they should really be just better, like I say, more upmarket and I'm really nice and refined and lovely and sophisticated, like civilized, fucking civilized. To be better than men. They don't have to be, obviously. They can do that if they want to. But just remember that you'll be no better than men, though, if you do that. But, it's okay to express yourself, but sometimes you can go a bit too far and be too vulgar. Like, I get excited and I start swearing, but, I try not to, especially seeing as how I have to always do that whole, when I'm monetizing my videos, I've got to go, oh, yeah, there's swearing in it. And I don't remember everything I've said in all my live streams, so I can't always remember when I've sweared in a video, when I've swore I don't know, whatever. So I don't like to have to do that, so I try not to swear. Plus, it just doesn't sound nice. It doesn't sound nice when anybody does it. So I'm not even saying that men can do it and women can't. I'm just saying, surely women would want to be better than men. Seeing as how women all, especially these feminists, technically are anti-men. Or at least they look down on men. You'd think they'd not want to be like them. You think they want to be better than them. With this whole feminist stuff, they want to be like men. The very people that they don't like, so it makes no sense. Hello, Autumn J. Nice to see you. A new person. Hooray. How are you doing? So what was I saying? It plays into men's hands, this whole, oh yes, we're, okay with having casual sex as well. Like I say, all it means is that men don't have to make an effort, that the women are already willing to have sex with them, so they don't have to make a frickin' effort. So is that what you women want then? You feminists and women, you all want just men to just have sex with you, but not make another? Not gonna, you don't want us to bother making an effort first. So what I'm saying is they're basically shooting themselves in the foot. And it also, because of all these girls who are willing to do this, easy girls as they're called, it means that ones who actually do want to find a relationship are screwed, because it's hard to find men who, you know, actually want a relationship. The ones that just want to have casual sex, like they're a dime a dozen. So with how things used to be, when, you know, men had to make efforts, you know, they weren't allowed to be that way. You know, they weren't allowed to be that way where they just pump and dump a girl and treat her like she's just a sexual object. So it's funny because women supposedly don't want to be sexual objects, but what are they doing? They are partaking in all this free love crap. So how could you say, you know, you don't want to be treated as a sexual object, but then think, oh, well, I can have casual sex too. So I'm going to go around having sex with men. Like, what do you think that is? Oh, that's good. I didn't know there were Arthurian songs. But I think you've gone now. So see you around, I guess. See you around, I guess. Uh-oh. Oh, it was already. Oh, well. I wanted to say. What else? Oh, I've got those art videos you guys like as well. I wonder if I could find that video that I found. Some of it was really bad, to be honest with you. But it was interesting. I wish I knew the name of it. Guys, that's Basil. Oh no, that's too much. Ooh, neck. Oh, hell no. I think women are very confused these days. Right, okay then. At least if I end the stream now, I can keep it to the point. Proper to the point. I had other things I want to say, but I think I will keep that for a separate stream, so I can title it as such. To be honest, I can't remember what it was now, but I'm sure it will be equally as riveting. Bye for now. I'll try and find that video because I'm really curious. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this, but I might sort of, you know, show a bit of it on my next stream. Just bits of it. I'll just pick out bits of it. I won't be able to show all of it. See, technically this milk is in date, but sometimes they go off way before. For some reason. They shouldn't do at the moment because it's freezing cold. It's like the whole house is like a fridge, so even if they're kept out, they should be fine. That's on the go. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. Oh. Don't forget to like, comment, and